Welcome back to Diving into Watches. It seems that 2022, 2023 for sure, and definitely going to 2024, seems to be another year of the GMT, where more and more manufacturers, from micro brands to independents to name brand watches, are all putting out GMTs. Now, GMT is not anything new to the watch industry. It was kind of held, made by exclusive lines or higher end lines, and anything you wanted in the lower end line was going to be a quartz, and there wasn't a lot of manufacturers of it. But as watches expanded their catalogs, GMT seemed to be taking on to it. And Seiko was one of the first ones that made an extremely affordable automatic uh, GMT in their SSK 003, 3, 4, and 5, I believe. I think that came out in 2021 or 2022. But more and more lines have come out with them. Uh, and as they do, the more I'm enjoying GMTs, and the more GMTs I start to own. I own two or three GMTs now, and I never really saw the need or understood the purpose for a GMT until I had one. And it was always sold as a traveler's watch. If you traveled or you're a pilot, you needed a GMT. But the reality is, in today's world, a GMT watch is great for anybody that has family anywhere in the world or anywhere in the country. If you live on the West Coast and you got family on the East Coast, you're going to set your GMT to their time, so you can instantly look at your watch and know exactly what time it is there versus what time it is here without having to subtract times, vice versa. So all my GMTs are set to West Coast. We have family on the West Coast, so my GMTs are set to West Coast. Now, in looking at GMT lines, you have your entry-level GMTs, and then you get into what you call your entry-level luxury GMT lines. Most GMTs that you're ever going to get in the automatic realm were going to be well over $1,000, usually starting at 1,500 and going on up. Seiko being one of the first ones to bring a sub 500 GMT. There was sub 1,000, sub 500 GMTs, but they're always quartz. But Seiko was the first to do it in the automatic, and then when you started to get above that 1,000 mark, 1,500 mark, that's when you would get into the automatics. Now, when you get above the 1,500 range, in my opinion, that's when you start to enter. You get into entry level luxury watch line. Even though I don't like using the word luxury watch, because to me all watches are tool watches and they have a purpose, and that's what they're there for. But one of the watches we're going to talk about today, you can probably see it over my left shoulder here, is Mido. Mido is a watch company that started back in 1918 in Switzerland, and has been making watches continuously in Switzerland since 1918. And one of the watches that they're very well known for is their dive watch, the Ocean Star line. Mido, actually, the name was from a Spanish word, yo mido, which means I measure. So Mido means measure in Spanish, and kind of fitting to the name of the company that they measure time. I don't know the exact date, but they are owned now by the Swatch Group, so they are part of this big Swatch international conglomerate. But they are their own separate line. They still produce their own separate watches, and the ones they're really known for right now are the Ocean Star and their Big Fort. I think it's Big Fort TV. They call it the TV dial watch. That's really, really cool. I don't have my hand set on one of those, but we are going to be taking a look at the Mido GMT Pepsi dial, the special edition one here. I got this from a good buddy at work. Matt, thank you for loaning me this watch to check out. So he loaned it to me so we could take a good in-depth take a look at it, and what it is you get with the Mido GMT. And when you get into the entry level luxury lines of watches, this is a traveler's GMT, and I will show you on this watch what a traveler's GMT is versus a collar GMT. And the traveler's GMT is easier to set when you're changing time zones, and I will go into that one. But it is a beautiful watch. It's a gorgeous watch. It has the Mido automatic movement 80, or basically it's an ETA movement 80 movement, 80-hour power reserve, and then they have tweaked it to their own specifications. So if you're looking at something different, something a little bit more high end, a little in luxury end, and high end, I think this watch, I think right now on Mido's website is right around $1,400 US, $1,450 US. I'm sure you could pick one up in the secondhand gray market, maybe a little less, but you are now getting into a little bit of the entry level luxury line. So I wanted you to see what you're going to get when you get into that line versus a Seiko in the sub 500 automatic range, which is a collar GMT. which I will have to do another review on mine because I did a review on it, but it was when I was modifying it. I didn't really go into why it's a collar versus a Traveler's GMT. But without further ado, let's get over the bench. Let's take an in-depth look at the Mido Ocean Star GMT and see if maybe this is one of the watches you need to look at if you're looking to get into that first watch, into that entry level luxury line, and see what you get when you look at one of these watches. So without further ado, let's jump over to the bench and let's take a look at the Mido Ocean Star GMT. Okay, taking a closer look now here at the Mido Ocean Star. We'll just start right off the top. We'll just knock out the measurements here real quick, get those out of the way, and then when we move on to all the cool little details and features of this Mido Power Star, it is a 44 millimeter case. Lug width is 22 millimeters. The thickness is 13.4, and the lug to lug is 49. It is a sapphire crystal AR coated. It is a screw down crown and a screw down case back. Stainless steel bracelet. It is all brushed with nice chamfered edges. The chamfered edges are polished, and then it has a nice coin edge bezel on it also. And then the bezel is a ceramic bezel. So you're getting sapphire glass ceramic bezel. You're getting a nice coin edge on here. It is 120 click unidirectional, and it is very I mean, it's just smooth. I mean, the clicks are solid. It's very easy to turn. I'm not fighting it. You can feel the feedback in your hand, and the QC is perfect. It lines up exactly perfect on top. Unlike other GMTs, a lot of GMTs, the ceramic bezel here will be the GMT part where it'll be two-toned here, where with Mido, they did the two-tone on the inner chapter ring where you've got the nighttime in the upper part, and then the red will represent the daytime down here in the lower part from the 0600 to 1800, and then the nighttime is going to go from that 1900 all the way out to 0500 hours. The indices are applied. The Mido Ocean Star are printed, and then down here in the bottom where it says Swiss made, that is also printed. The hands are your normal baton hands, and then the GMT hand is red, which is red, and it's loomed also. Both on the indices are loomed, and then there's a loom at the side of the number at the date window, and you have a loom at the pip also up here at the top. When looking at the case, as I said earlier, it is all brushed, and then it has chamfered edges which are polished. The bracelet is a combination of polish and brushing, and it tapers down from 22 millimeters down to 18 down at the clasp. Taking a look at the clasp, it is a push button deployment. It is a milled clasp, stainless steel milled clasp, and it also has a micro adjustment diver's extension here where you push it in and then you can pull in or out. Sorry, Matt, I'm probably going to mess up your fitting here, but you push this and these will slide. You push these and this will slide in and out as you adjust. I'm sorry, this one. You can extend it out pretty far. I've obviously messed it up, but this will allow you also to make those micro adjustments. You only have to push it to go all the way out. Otherwise, you just push it to take each extension back. And this allows you, for diving, but also during the day, you can make micro adjustments as your wrist will swell, especially in the summertime, which is very nice. And I do like that it's a mill clasp, but I would expect that at this price point. This is nice. I like these divers extensions, and you don't always typically get these at this price point because it also depends upon the watch. So just because you're paying $14, $15, $16 for a watch doesn't always mean you're going to get a diver's extension. That is a nice feature. I have some of my lower ones, but it's usually it's a pop out and it opens just one click over. It's not an actual adjustable extension. So that is a very nice feature. The adjustments on the bracelet are your typical pin and collar. You just push out, tells the direction, push it out, and then you can change it. The back is a screw down case back. Let me see if I can get this to focus. On the case back, it has the cities around the world: Cairo, Dubai, Delhi. I'm trying to make it there, Hong Kong, and then it has the times and a difference in the time zone. So you could look back here and see the difference in time zones if you want to adjust it. But that's just an added feature. That's not, you're not really ever going to use this, but it's going to give you the information on the watch, sapphire crystal, Mido, etc. Just a cool little feature. Another cool feature that it has is it has quick release on the bracelet right here. You have two, you just push these two in, it comes right off. This watch comes in a very beautiful case. I'm not going to show the case, but it also comes with a red, white, and blue NATO strap that you can put on here very easily, which is also quick release, which is nice, so that you can change straps out if you want to wear the metal during the summer, or I'm sorry, during the winter, and then you want to switch over to the NATO in the summer, or just take it with you. It has a nice crown guards. It is a screw down crown, and it fits very nicely. The Mido lines up perfectly in the vertical. It would have been nice if it could have been, I'm sorry, in the vertical. It would have been nice if it could have been in the horizontal, but that's okay. Beggars can't be choosers. You know, this, at least it lines up and it's not crooked. Overall, it is extremely nice watch. I like the heft of it. It is on the heavy side. On the bracelet, it comes in at 209 grams. So you're definitely going to know this is on your wrist, but it's not to the weight that's going to drag your arm down and make you feel like you're hauling around a weight. But you will notice that it is there. And you have the date window, obviously, right there. When you're setting it, and I'll show you here real quick. So you would set it like you do any typical watch. You pull it all the way out to the 3 position, and then you would move it to your local time, and then you'd put your GMT time would be at your local time that you're at right now. So if we set it to 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. Arizona time, it's going to be right at 2000 hours, which is 8 p.m. So if you were flying to New York and it's going to be 3 hours ahead, you would come to the number 2 position. And when you adjust it, it's only going to move the hour hand. So if we landed there and it's midnight, so if we landed in New York and it's midnight there and we left it's 8 o'clock here, so as soon as we landed in New York, we would just switch that to midnight, push that back in, screw it down, and lock that in. And then the GMT will stay at the time that you're at. So you could set this to whatever time you want to be at, whatever time you want to monitor, but we would leave this at the Arizona time. So when we know we're in, my mind is blank. When we're in New York at midnight, we would know, quickly looking to watch, it's 8 o'clock in the evening there. And then the way you adjust the day, because you can see it just switched over, is you would put it in the number 2 position for the GMT hand. If I can get it in the number 2 position. And then what'll happen is you set the date with just the hour hand, like you would just going around the clock. And so now here we go, 1819. Now I should click over to the 28th, which I just did. And that was how you would set the date, the time, and the GMT on a traveler's GMT. And the beauty of the traveler's GMT is you're only moving the hour hand, because the minutes are going to stay the same no matter what time zone you're in. You're just adjusting the hour to wherever you're at. On a caller or office GMT, you set your GMT separate and you set your time separate. So number 2 position will set the date, and the number 2 position will move the GMT hand, and the number 3 position will move all the hands. So you're going to have to move all the hands to that local time that you want to be at. This is just a cool feature that makes it just one step above and beyond. So hopefully that answers any questions you might have. When I do the Seiko one, I will go ahead and review that also. Let's go ahead and do a loom shot, and then we will do a wrist check on it, and we will throw this on. Even though this hasn't been worn, we'll go ahead and throw it in the time grapher and see how I keep wanting to say Powermatic, but Powermatic is Tissot. This is the Caliber 80, and the 80 means it has 80 hours of power reserve, which is that's excellent. I would love to have a watch that have. I mean, that's going to get you through the weekend easily. So if you took it off on a Friday and didn't put it back on until Monday, it's still going to be going just fine. But let's go ahead and flip off the lights and let's take a look at the loom. I did not see on the website what the loom was. I'm going to assume it's Superluminova, Swiss Superluminova. If I'm incorrect, correct me down in the comments, but I did not see it on the website when I was doing the research on this watch. So let's go ahead and charge it up, and then let's take a look at the loom. Okay, there's our loom shot of the Mido Ocean Star, and you can see that loom is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it just is bright as can be. The loom is excellent. You can see the hands are loomed, the pip is loomed, the seconds, and the GMT hand, so you can even see what time it is at your time zone you're following and your current time zone with no issues. The date window is not loomed, but the pip next to the date is loomed, and it is excellent. That is very, very excellent. I have no complaints on the loom. Again, at the price point you're at, you should expect some certain features just to be that one step above, just as if you were buying a car and you're going from a Volkswagen, Golf GTI to a Porsche 911. There's going to be definitely a difference in the price points, but as you move up in those price points, you start to have expectations of certain features that should just be default and standard, and quality standards that should be there also. Unlike the Seiko, where QC just sucks when it comes to the pip lining up at the top. But I think that loom is very, very good. I think you're getting exactly what you're paying for. I think it looks excellent. So let's go ahead and flip back on the lights, and let's go ahead and put it on the time grapher. But before we do that, let's do a quick wristwatch check. I have on my Bulova Jetstar from back. They pulled out of their catalogs. Let me zoom out just a little bit. Back from the 70s. It comes on a brown strap. I did pull this off the strap and I put it on this burgundy Colorab strap that is handmade, an Italian handmade strap. Very affordable. So extremely comfortable and soft. I love this strap. I love this watch. It just exudes that 70s vibe. Makes me want to grow them sideburns back and get the platforms out and listen to Saturday Night Fever. But I just absolutely love this watch. I wore this all day to work, and what I love about it is that sweeping seconds hand that you get with that 262 kilohertz tuning fork movement. That's beating at 16 ticks per second. That's why it's so smooth. Absolutely incredible. Okay, but let's take a look at the Mido on the. Okay, let's take a look. Lift angle is going to be 52, beating at 21,600 beats per minute. It's got an amplitude of 239, a beat error of 0.7. It's running about, through the second test, we got 11 seconds, 19 seconds to 9 seconds. And for the fourth one, we're going to come in at 9 seconds. So we're running about 9 seconds a day fast. I'd rather the watch run fast than slow. I think if this was worn all day or worn for several days and had a full wind on it, this would be different. But when you first wind a watch and throw it in a time grapher, your timer is always going to be off and not be 100% accurate. So I would not take this as, oh my God, that's horrible. 9 seconds a day. 9 seconds a day is excellent, and I would be very, very happy with that. So with that, let's go ahead and jump back over to the studio, and we'll wrap up our final reviews on the Mido Ocean Star and give you my final thoughts. Is this something that you should think about picking up and adding to your watch collection? So without further ado, let's head back over. Okay, folks, so there we are taking a look at let's see if I can get this into focus, taking a look at the Mido Ocean Star GMT. I think overall, I think this is a fantastic watch. I didn't give you what it looks like on my wrist. The reason I didn't do that, but I'll do it anyways while we're wrapping up the final closure here, is that this is sized for Matt, and Matt has a much larger wrist than I do. And you can see here in a second, as you can see, I'm not going to readjust his watch, and you can see he has a much bigger wrist than I do. But you can see that this fits very, very well on my wrist. At 45, you've seen what 45s look on a 6 1/4. So this would look absolutely gorgeous and beautiful on my wrist. I could see myself owning a Mido Ocean Star. I just didn't do the watch show over there because I'd have to hold it, and you can see it's just a lot bigger on my watch. I think he's like a 7.5 or 7 3/4. He's got a big wrist. He's a big guy. So, but you can see on my 6 1/4, that looks very, very nice. So, should you pick up a Mido? I can't tell you if you should pick one up or not. If you're into dive watches and you're looking to take a step into that next area of, entry-level luxury watches, then I would say definitely look at Mido. I think Mido is a gorgeous watch. I don't have any complaints about this one. Someone might complain about the weight being at 209 grams. It's getting on the hefty side. But personally, I like heftier watches. I like to feel the watch on my wrist. I have, and I've done the reviews on the Citizen Titanium and the Aragon Titanium watches, and I love those. But it's just so weird to have something on your wrist that you can't even feel that is there. I think my Bulova is heavier than the Titanium watches. But I think if you're looking for something that you want, that's going to stand out, that's going to have some heft to it, that's going to have some style to it, that's going to have all the cool features that you're looking for when you step up into that price realm, then I think you should look at Mido. Mido's one too that you don't see a lot on the gray market, which should tell you something about the watch, that the people that are buying them are keeping them. They're not flipping them. They're not getting rid of them. I don't see a lot of the Midos on the gray market. I'm sure they're there, but they're not like other watches that you're seeing on the gray market, from Exquisite Timepieces or Joma's Shop or some of the other gray market dealers out there. Mido is not one that I'm coming across, especially this Ocean Star GMT. This is the limited special edition one because it comes with the 2 straps. I don't see a lot of this watch, Mido watches, on the used market. So that either speaks to people are loving them, which I'm going to go with because they're not selling them. Because, as any times you get rid of a watch, you're never usually getting, unless it's a Rolex maybe or something, you're never ever going to get typically what you pay out of it. But I don't see a lot of these on the gray market. So I think that speaks highly of Mido. Some people may have an issue of, Mido being part of the Swatch group and being owned by Swatch, but, they own a lot of the companies out there. So I think you should take a look at it, considering because if you're looking at that price point, this isn't the price point of the Marathon G-Star that I have. It's the exact same price point. So it's just a matter of what style you're looking for. But if you're looking for for a GMT, an entry-level luxury GMT, I don't think you could go wrong with G-Star. I really like this one. I think this is a really super nice quality watch. I'm going to have to keep my eyes out on the gray market for one of these to pop up. I like the Pepsi styling on it. I just love the colors. Even my wife looked at it and she was thought, wow, that's a really gorgeous looking watch. So of course my wife likes a watch that I don't own. So I guess she says my taste sucks. I don't know. No, she doesn't say my taste sucks. She just knows that I love dive watches and that's my thing. So check out Mido. Matt, thank you again for letting me borrow the watch. If there's any other watches you'd like us to look at, please put it down in the comments. I'll do my best to get my hands on it. I'm looking to do some reviews on some Omegas here pretty soon and some other watches. We've got some good reviews coming up. Keep hitting that like button. Keep hitting that subscribe button. Keep us growing. We appreciate it. Hey, everybody, stay safe. Have a great weekend. Be kind to each other. Be honorable. Do the right thing. Treat others as if you'd want them to treat you. And I'm diving into watches, and we'll see you next week. And I'm out.